35-year-old Mauricio Navarro, the least experienced referee, is the man in charge of this one, as Bolivia and Uruguay begin their Copa America campaign in Medellin. Two teams relying heavily on youngsters for this tournament, and although some big names are missing, as we've already seen so far, there is still plenty of tremendous talent on show, naturally I suppose in South America. Craig Brown.
Yes, always in South America, great individual skill, great talent, technique, superb. But of course, if you're a European manager, you take a risk when you bring them over, because they play many more internationals in South America than we do in Europe.
Just a bit of experience for you in the Scotland camp a good few years ago against Uruguay. A nice clean contest, as I remember.
It was, yes, and Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge. We had a game in the World Cup in Mexico against Uruguay. I think it's a notorious game because it was a 0-0 result, but they played for 89 minutes with 10 players, 10 men. We failed to score, but it was quite brutal. I think that's euphemism for really dirty.
A much talked about game, that.
Yeah, but they had one player, a famous Uruguayan, Francis Scoli, who played our back four on his own. He had a wonderful performance on that occasion against the might of McLeish and Miller and Goff we had at the back. But Francis Scoli did well.
Well, we're almost ready for kick-off in Medellin. The referee just waiting to get the nod.
And we're looking at the darkened grass there. Is that artificial? We've been discussing the possibility of that being artificial or just replanted, reseeded grass in certain areas, and all pitches seem to have it. It's very distinctive.
Yes, they patched up a few of the pitches. Uruguay will certainly fancy their chances. They last won the Copa America in 1995, but they reached the final last time out in '99 when they were somewhat outclassed by Brazil. But they do have an excellent record throughout the years in this competition. In fact, they are seeking Uruguay a record 15th triumph. At the moment, they're level on 14 wins with Argentina, who can't, of course, add to their tally because they're not here. Bolivia in green and white get us off and running then in Group C in Medellin. Their hopes of making it to the World Cup finals in Japan and South Korea have faded, but Uruguay are still very much in with a shout, and they're in with a shout here as Morales looks to find Lemos, and Morales taking over again, but couldn't quite keep his feet, and it's a goal kick. He might have been rather hopefully looking for a little bit more than that.
Yes, I think it was very disappointing start for Bolivia. When you have the kick-off and you fail to get out your own half and you're immediately under pressure, there's something wrong. There was nothing coordinated at the kick-off. Very, very slack play, and a disappointing start for them, I would suggest.
The losing finalists in the last two Copa Americas on show here. Bolivia hosted the tournament in '97 and were beaten by Brazil, and Uruguay knew how they felt in '99 when they also lost to Brazil. Almost ran away from Calustro. This is Alvarez being closely tracked by Carlos Diaz. Sandy wearing 3, rather experienced defender, but he's given a free kick away, which could cause Uruguay a problem or two. Coimbra certainly felt the force of that.
It did indeed. It looks, early indications are, Ian, that both sides are playing 3 at the back, which is quite fashionable in South America. And 5 in the middle, or 4 with a player tucked in off the front there. And it'll be interesting to see the formations as the game develops, but it's a back 3 for both teams from the initial impression.
Bolivia hoping to strike first in Group C, but it's taken by Gustavo Munilla. They have met these countries 13 times before in the Copa America, and Uruguay with much the better record. They've won 10 of them. Bolivia, which is 2 triumphs, and one of the games ended in a draw. Now Uruguay get a free kick of their own. Standing over it is Rodrigo Lemos. Well, a chance or two at either end in the opening stages.
Yeah, Lemos put a good delivery in there. It was out-swinging, and notice it's fashionable again for crosses from the flanks to come in right on top of the goalkeeper, but he played that one out. The header was very, very weak and no threat at all to the Bolivian defence.
Flag goes up there, but we saw the Bolivian number 10, the captain Valdivieso, who's one of the veterans in the tournament, been around a long time. In fact, this is his 5th Copa America. The stadium here in Medellin holds 52,000, but as you can see, not quite up to capacity for the opening games in Group C. The throw-in aimed towards Morales by Martinez. And he might just try and do exactly the same again. Indeed he does. Oh, it very nearly came through to Chavanton. A little bit of a scare for Bolivia.
It was a scare, yes. Chavanton was lurking there. Had there been any further mistake in that defence, he was in good position. But Bolivia started, for my money, very, very poorly. The Uruguayans looked much more composed at this stage. There's a perfect example of the pass given away under no pressure, an unforced error, and that's been the hallmark of the play already from Bolivia. They look to be very, very unsettled at the start.
They have won the Copa America once, way back in 1963, Bolivia. They beat Brazil 5-4 to clinch the trophy. Sandy just making sure that that one went back to his keeper. Sandy wearing 3, a survivor from the last Copa America when Uruguay reached the final.
Yeah, Sandy's a veteran here at age 29, and you know, that's uncommon at international football, where the ages are usually pretty old, late 20s, early 30s, but very young teams, experimental teams from both countries here, with Sandy, the experienced defender. I think he played in the 1994 World Cup in the USA. A young 21-year-old goalkeeper, Arias.
Uruguay looking to settle into their stride, but maybe Bolivia can make something of this. Although it just spun away from Botero, and now Sandy will return it to Gustavo Manua, who is the second choice. The first choice, Carini, is not here. He's kept goal, Carini, for most of the World Cup qualifiers. The big burly striker Morales trying to get in, but the free kick goes in favour of Bolivia.
I've got to say, Ian, I don't like to be critical, but compared with the other games we've seen in this tournament, this has been a very indifferent start. Hardly any passes getting to the desired player. A lot of kicks upfield, hopeful kicks, which is most unusual. We haven't seen that in any of the earlier matches.
Yes, it's not been the most enthralling 7 minutes of football I've ever seen, but maybe that might be about to change. And it was an awkward bounce as Lemos let fly.
Yeah, it signifies intent to Uruguay. When I always think that when a team is shooting early on, there's an intent there, a positive approach, and it was worth a shot from that distance early in the game, particularly bouncing in front of the goalkeeper when the surface looks to be a bit uneven.
Uruguay with a proud record in the history of the Copa America, and they must surely fancy their chances of getting through this group stage now that Argentina have pulled out of it. Honduras coming in for them, Costa Rica coming in for Canada. Certainly favours to win the group. And Martinez couldn't quite get to that. And Bolivia, they rather lost their way. Riviero needs to do much better than that. Here's Bizarra, and he'll get the free kick. But it's certainly been a pretty low-key start in Group C.
Very low-key, and also poor attendance, it would appear. A lot of spaces, a lot of stadiums large. Doesn't seem to be the same enthusiasm here as we've seen earlier in the tournament, but of course things will change as the teams progress, and hopefully we'll get a better quality than we've had in the opening minutes here.
Bolivian football going through a bit of a rebuilding phase really at the moment. They're not exactly finding it easy when it comes to money. As a result, they're having to rely on home-based players most of the time rather than bring in players who are plying their trade overseas. The financial crisis is so bad they can't really afford to fly them back in for internationals. That's how bad it is. And the coach of Bolivia as well, because of the financial crisis, has taken a 50% pay cut. I think all international managers should do that.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that, but maybe some of us are going to be taking a 100% cut. I'd rather have a 50% cut than a 100% cut. And you know, when you look what's happened in Brazil, 4 managers recently, you know, you're privileged and fortunate to be in the management role, and I certainly consider myself to be privileged. But another big factor, certainly in Europe, in terms of finance, is the insurance of players. It's very expensive to insure international players, so as well as flying them to the venue and paying them a modest sum, they have to be insured, and that can be quite prohibitive.
Makes it hard work for Bolivia, though, when they can't actually call on their best players. But there's a chance for them here, nobody waiting in the middle, mind you.
Yeah, Botero was right through there, a good ball in the inside right position. Very slack defending from Sorondo in particular at the back for Uruguay.
Carlos Diaz. Chevanton was the target, but it carries through to Carlos Arias. A little encouragement at least for Bolivia with that break into the box. And they should try and make similar headway again with Calustro and now Raldez.
Look at the time he has in the ball. When you've got as long as that in possession, you've got to be accurate with your forward pass. He was on that occasion, but there is no pressure being applied to the player in possession, so any error is so far has been unforced, and they've made plenty.
Well, there have been a couple of surprises already in the Copa America, with Chile, who'd had a desperate run leading into this tournament, thrashing Ecuador, and of course Mexico beating Brazil. It would be a similar story, I guess, if Bolivia were to get off to a winning start. Uruguay strongly fancied in this one, and this is Morales, and it was Chevanton, and the goalkeeper just about held on, but it cost him, it hurt him.
Yes, Arias got a sore one there, and a good save though, but a good run from Chevanton down in that channel there, in behind Sandy, and he got a good shot across the face of the goal, but the goalkeeper has been injured in the process of making an excellent save.
Chevanton certainly looks lively, but then he has scored 33 goals in the league for his club Danubio, so he's obviously a bit useful.
Yeah, he's either very pacey or a bit of both, or the Bolivian defence is particularly slow, and I thought that the pace that he showed there should have been matched by the defender Sandy, but wasn't, and he got in a shot when you would expect the defender to give at least a challenge.
He looks to be in some considerable pain at the moment.
Yeah, you don't take chances nowadays with a head knock of any description, and we do notice that the substitute goalkeeper is warming up. Barrientos getting ready to come on.
It's just clipped.
Yeah, he was got a glancing blow there on the side of the ear.
Brave goalkeeping, and they're going to patch him up. Always looks good when they do this to footballers, doesn't it? Terry Butcher.
Well, remember Terry. I knew you were going to mention Terry. Well, very popular in Scotland as well. One of my favourites, and Terry is always pictured in our country with the bandage and the blood seeping through. So that typifies the man.
Yes, one of the great images of football. They're certainly putting plenty of bandages around the head of Carlos Arias at the moment, 21-year-old keeper. But Barrientos is warming up just in case he isn't able to continue.
Yeah, Barrientos is a young chap as well. If he is to come on, I think he's only 23, so very, very young for the vital goalkeeping positions. But here he is, he's a hero.
Yes, he'll probably milk this a little bit.
Yeah, the old Braveheart there.
Certainly did take a nasty whack.
You just wonder about the sight of blood, whether that's acceptable. Nowadays they're very, very stringent in the ruling, particularly when blood appears on a jersey, and now it's there on a bandage. I wonder whether the referee will allow him to continue.
Well, he's getting on with it for the time being. No goals, and a rather lengthy delay as a result of the treatment for Arias. Bolivia warmed up for this tournament with a 5-0 win over Venezuela in a World Cup qualifier. Although generally it hasn't been a very good qualifying campaign for them. Everyone tends to beat Venezuela, as you might expect. Alvarez. Valdivieso caught out somewhat. Not the best of returns from Morales, though. Alvarez. Bolivia breaking. Here's Ribeiro. Hanging on grimly, but well, they might get another chance here. In fact, they're going to get a free kick and might fancy having a pop from here.
Yeah, most of the South American teams do have a pop from that distance. They like to practice the free kicks bending and round and over the wall, so we can expect something here. But already I think Alvarez has done very well wide on that left side for Bolivia. He looks a tidy player, and he has created any openings that they've had so far.
Well, it's been the tamest of the games in the Copa America so far. Can Bolivia liven things up? Sandy it is who clears that. Now maybe a chance for Uruguay. It's slipped through to Morales. Is this going to be the opening goal of Group C? No! Just prodded behind into the side netting.
Oh, Morales will be really disappointed. It's a great through ball. All he seemed to have to do was to hit the target, but his shot went tantalisingly past. But oh, a great move, and round the goalkeeper. His first bit of action since the head knock, and they managed to hit the side netting when it would appear a great chance. But it was lost, but you would have thought Uruguay should have gone a goal ahead there.
And there's a push, which will result in a free kick. Well, the goalkeeper Arias already has a sore head. It would have been a little sorer had Uruguay profited there, but it remains goalless.
He actually did very well, Ian. He narrowed the angle well. He came out and he forced Morales a bit wider than he would have hoped to go, and I think from the narrowest of angles he found it difficult to get the ball in, to squeeze it into the net. So good goalkeeping in spite of the fact he's just had a severe head knock.
Alvarez. the 40th Copa America, and the first yellow card of this game is going to be shown to Alvarez for that challenge on Carlos Diaz.
Yeah, one thing about the referee, Mr. Navarro from Canada, he's been up with play, mind you. At the pace of the game, it's easy for him to keep up with play. He's kept up very well. He's never far from the action. He was close to that incident, and he correctly, I think, felt that the studs were shown down the shin, and a yellow card is the result.
So Uruguay aiming to put the pressure on again. But it's a Bolivian throw, and neither of these teams are particularly covering themselves in glory at the moment, as the yellow card for Alvarez is confirmed. Free kick, and maybe a chance for Uruguay to make something of this. It's won for them by Andres Martinez, who has actually played in Europe. He was with Osasuna in Spain for a while, and Lecce in Italy for a while.
So here we see the opposite. This is going to be bent in. The previous one was an outswinger. This is the fashionable one coming in. Very, very difficult to defend.
The big boys are up, including Morales and Segundo, and Arias held on just.
Yeah, no difficulty there. Comfortable save. Ball far too close and top of the goalkeeper.
Carlos Diaz asking a bit too much of Morales here. He was tracked by Sandy.
Yeah, those of us who coach will see that there's a centre-back out taking the throw, which is quite normal now in a back three, and initially when that happened, people were asking questions, why is a centre-half coming out to take the throw? Well, it's quite logical, and we see Sandy doing it for Bolivia. Diaz there in that position for Uruguay.
Morales, and wow, was there a push there? Goal kick's been given.
A good early ball in from Diaz, wide on the right for Uruguay. A tempting ball, but neither striker was in place to finish what I thought was a fine ball across the face of the goal.
Alvarez. Morales with the touch. Rodrigo Lemos. Not much joy for Chevanton. Callejas was trying to steam in, and here he is again. Lemos. And Morales! Oh, dear. Another chance for him, and another chance wasted.
Great ball in from Lemos. Beautifully flighted ball for the knockdown, but Morales again snatching at it a bit early. But a definite threat there, this big fellow up front for Uruguay. The header down was well delivered by Chevanton, and Morales just knocked it over the top.
Uruguay looking the more likely, but that's no great surprise. And Martinez, that's going to be another yellow card. He went right through, and then it's the captain Valdivieso who's booked.
Yeah, the young referee's trying to ensure that there's good standards early in the match. He's been quick with a couple of yellow cards, which perhaps later in the game wouldn't have resulted in quite severe punishment as that, but he's making his mark, and I think 2 yellows, a bit soft, but he could justify them.
Here's Sorondo. Aimed towards Morales again, but Bolivia dealing comfortably with that. And here's Alvarez. And he'll settle for the throw in the end. This is the opening game in Group C, coming up a little later. The two teams who've been invited to take part in the tournament after Argentina and Canada withdrew. You can see Honduras against... Who are Honduras playing, Craig?
I knew you would mention Costa Rica.
Just wanted to hear the Scotland manager say Costa Rica.
We are trying to forget Costa Rica. We had 19 goal attempts in that game in Italy, and we scored with one.
Well, Chevanton has gone to ground.
There's the empty stadium to which I was referring earlier, but it's noisy enough, although not the most busy, not the biggest attendance so far in the tournament, far from it.
Not an awful lot for the fans to shout about either so far, but maybe Bolivia can change that now. This is a man who can certainly often change things for them, their captain Valdivieso, helped on by Ribeiro. Valdivieso again. Morales, neat turn. Not a bad pass either. Chevanton just skipped away from him. Morales coming in. I think the free kick might be given against him.
Yes, it is, but the defending is very poor. The back three of Bolivia are all at sea. And the big strikers there, Chevanton and Morales, are creating havoc. I think with more supply, we're bound to see some return for their excellent efforts up front.
Valdivieso and Alvarez have been booked for Bolivia. 4 red cards in the tournament so far. This is Ribeiro. He's done rather well, but not much of an end product, although a little better from Bolivia.
Yeah, good play by Ribeiro, and he, I think, wide on the right, and his partner Alvarez wide on the left. The wing backs there are the main threat. They're not going to do anything through the middle. Uruguay look very tight in the central area, but there has been isolated threats from the right from Ribeiro and on the left from Alvarez, and that seems to be where they're going to get most mileage, I think.
Bolivia did go to the World Cup in 1994 in the USA, and they did make the final of the Copa America in 97, but apart from that they've not been up to much as the flag goes up against Uruguay.
Yeah, I watched them in 1994, and I do remember, the only name I remember is Sandy, a nice Scottish name, so and he played very well, but I've got to say that he's struggling here against the power of Chevanton. He's lacking the physical presence to deal with this big fellow, and the Bolivian back three do look vulnerable.
Both teams, remember, severely weakened after some of their star men decided not to take part in the tournament. Valdivieso, the man playing in his 5th Copa America, will take this free kick for Bolivia. Uruguay untroubled.
Untroubled. Valdivieso's free kick was poor. It was a gift actually for any defence, and particularly a competent one like the Uruguayan defence.
Yes, they don't give much away. Uruguay, excellent defensive record, currently 5th in their World Cup qualifying group. If they stay there at the end of it all, they'll face Australia in a playoff to get to the World Cup next year, but a few games to be played yet. They're level on points with Brazil, having beaten them the other week. Bolivia trying to up the ante with Ribeiro. Alvarez. And the free kick will be given. The referee is waiting to see if it might have been to Bolivia's advantage.
Yes, good referee. He delayed his whistle there, and as usual, right up with play. All credit to him so far.
Valdivieso and Gutierrez are standing over the free kick. Looks like Gutierrez fancies it. Gutierrez does fancy it.
Yes.
I had the keeper scrambling across.
Yeah, Gutierrez hit it well. And you're right, good goalkeeping again from a young custodian there. Manure did well.
Fine strike.
That was a good strike, you know, trying to sneak it in at the near post was a surprise. Only Gary McAllister can do that.
Should have mentioned that one. Yeah. Got to be in the last minute as well.
Yeah.
Carlos Diaz. He was looking for Morales. Might get a second chance to try something. Cheaply given away by Bolivia. Carlos Diaz. That'll be a free kick.
Yeah, we know it was a free kick. I think he's just perhaps a little officious at times. Combra knew what he'd done there and accepted it. He even held up his hand in acknowledgement before the referee called him over. I don't think it was malicious.
Although he is from Canada, the referee, he is also a fluent Spanish speaker. So the players won't be getting away with much tonight. Ribeiro leaves it for Valdivieso. Aimed towards Portero. Danger not over yet for Uruguay, but it is now. Brought away by Sorondo. Just over half an hour played. Bolivia 0, Uruguay 0 in Medellin in the opening game of Group C.
I think Uruguay's problem is that the playmaker Lemos is becoming deeper and deeper, and you know, there he is, number 9. He started the game in behind the two strikers who look very dangerous indeed, but for some reason he's dropped in and he's got himself in among the other central midfield players, thus not getting the space to create things for the front two. He would be expected to pick up a knockdown from the front or a layoff from one or other in the front, but here he is working now in front of his back three.
Bolivia are quite happy to see him there.
Absolutely, it's perfect for them. You know, to sit in just off the front in what I call the Spivs position is a luxury position for him, and he started there. I watched carefully, but he's drifted deeper and deeper and deeper. Gutierrez is doing the same job for Bolivia.
Bolivia are 66th in the FIFA World Rankings, Uruguay are 40th. Not quite sure why I mentioned that really, because I never quite understand those rankings at all, and whether they mean anything.
No, nor do I.
Whereabouts are you?
Well, I can't believe it. We were 20 a year ago, and we haven't lost a competitive match, and we're now 32. In fact, we went from 26 to 32 without losing. In fact, we won our games and dropped in the rankings. But they have a formula which they now disclose.
A chance for Bolivia to take the lead. It was Coimbra, and the reflection of the goalkeeper. Nothing wrong with them as the goal kick is given. Encouraging a yellow card for the Bolivian as well, but what a chance for them.
Yeah, great chance for Coimbra there. The ball was played in brilliantly to his head. There wasn't a lot of pace in the ball. He had to try and get some pace on it for the diving header. He failed to do so. Diaz back, but too late and in poor position. But it was a very dangerous attack there by Bolivia. An unusually dangerous one, I've got to say.
Lima. It's another wayward pass, and there's been a few of them.
Yeah, there has been. Lima hasn't pushed himself forward in that wing-back position at all for Uruguay. He's settled in more of in a defensive role than the wide left player that we thought we would see. So that's really allowing the opposition, the Bolivian team, to Ribeiro in particular, to penetrate down that side.
Coimbra, who had that chance a moment ago, flicked that on. Morales being trapped by Sandy.
Same as in Britain, applause for a tackle. You can make 10 excellent passes and no one bothers, but one crunching tackle and the crowd applauds. You know, it's strange, and it's a phenomenon that I always notice in England and in Scotland. Cheer for a tackle, but great passing just goes unnoticed.
There's Valdivieso. Stroke having a dig from distance, but nothing doing from that. He can try again. And that'll be a free kick.
No, Caluso had no chance there from 40 yards with his weaker foot, his left foot, so that was a tame effort.
Well, Gutierrez has already had one attempt from a free kick. I do believe he's sizing up another. And the last one stopped by Gustavo Manua. Gutierrez it is again, falling over that time, but the boy can obviously hit them.
He can, yes, opposite side of the goal this time. I think he tried to bend it round the left-hand side of the wall, of the defensive side, whereas the last time he sneaked it across the front of the wall, tried to put it in at the goalkeeper's right-hand post. So a variation there, but he obviously is very adept at knocking in free kicks from round about the edge of the box.
Uruguay might have been facing one of their old enemies, Argentina, in this group, had they decided to participate in the tournament. As it is, they'll be up against Costa Rica next, and then Honduras. Is it Alvarez? And surely offside against Coimbra.
Yeah, Alvarez got into good position down in the left there, but the absence of a left foot made him check back onto his right, and when he played it across the face of the goal, the defenders were back in position. And of course it resulted in an offside decision against Gutierrez.
Pua, the coach of Uruguay, second spell in charge of the national team. Took over from Argentine legend Daniel Passarella, who resigned in February.
Yeah, glad to see Mr. Pua there, because he makes me feel quite slim.
Me too. Ribeiro. It's going to be a corner for Bolivia. And that will give them some hope.
Well, we'll see. I don't know if the free kick man will take the corners, Gutierrez, because his delivery is excellent. I think he is coming out to do that, and we can expect something. They do seem to have worked at set pieces.
Gutierrez didn't clear the first hurdle.
No, it was well defended. You know, the first defender got it. It was actually a poorly delivered corner kick, after all we were saying about him.
Martinez. Lima. A little hopeful, but it might yet work out well for Uruguay. Chavanton. Oh dear, that was desperate.
Yeah, you hear the whistles, and that, I think, sums up the attempted cross there. Well, I think that's the furthest forward Lima has been, and he was pushing in there on his opposite number, Ribeiro, and free kick given, and you know that they've given yellow cards so far. That could have easily resulted in a yellow card because of the standard that's been set by Mr. Navarro from Canada.
Uruguay hoping to make the final of the Copa America for the second time running. They were beaten by Brazil in 1999. And Bolivia, they were beaten by Brazil in the 1997 final, which they hosted. So the losing finalists of the last two Copa Americas, hoping to give it their best shot in 2001. Uruguay certainly fancied a little bit more than Bolivia.
No urgency at all in this game. You know, you just see Dia coming up to take this throw in, took him an age. Looked as though he required a taxi to get him there.
It's not exactly South American football at its finest, that's for sure.
No, we have had a treat. I've watched all the other matches and they have been delightful. I've got to say that, without being hypercritical here, and I can't be, I've got to say the standard is very poor, and it does reflect the high, or the low rather, FIFA rankings. They're well down. For South American teams to be far down in the FIFA rankings, I think that's appropriate as a result of what we've seen so far in this match. Even a defender there with no danger, clumsily pushing in, Sorondo pushing into his opposite number and giving an unnecessary free kick away there.
Gutierrez foiled by the efforts of Martinez. Here's Morales. Skips away from Sandy, but was then caught by Valdivieso, who's on a yellow card.
Yeah, he'll need to watch himself. I think he's doing the very diplomatic thing there, picking up the opponent after bringing him down, and there's no question in my mind he brought him down.
Well, he's going to get another ticking off from the referee. He has to tread very carefully now, that's for sure, the captain of Bolivia.
Yeah, good player though he is, you'd be sitting in the dugout saying, will I replace him? This is a tournament we're playing in. If he gets sorted off, we lose him, and he's a vital player. So, you know, these thoughts will be going through the coach's head, I'm sure.
Minutes of the first half remaining. No goals and not much of a sign of one.
No, not an impressive first half. One chance in the first half. Chev Anton had a chance, and also Morales, maybe two chances for Uruguay, but that apart, there has been very little quality football.
Carlos Diaz.
This man looks the best player in the field, actually, if he remains on the field. Valdivieso, and you know, he looks excellent in the right side of midfield.
Gutierrez trying to put Coimbra away, and it nearly worked. Gutierrez. That's going to drift away there. I mean, the quality of the passing is not really what you expect from these sort of players.
No, it's not. Botero had no chance there, and the pass was very optimistic. It's the ideal pass against the back three, to try a diagonal one into the corner, into the hole, over the shoulder of the defender, but the delivery's got to be good, and the ball's got to spin back or hold up so that the striker has a chance to get it.
Well, maybe something will happen here, thanks to the persistence. Okay, maybe not. Alvarez
just played well. That's the problem. The right-footed left wing back just having to change feet to get it, and was very careless. And there's my father there getting things organised.
He's found out who ate all the pies anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, a few of us are very happy to see him.
Victor Pua, the coach of Uruguay. Lemos was well forward. That took a rather wicked deflection from Chev Anton.
Good shot from Chev Anton, yeah. Lemos did well, creating the chance for Chavantin. He tried it from outside the box, but it was blocked. It was spinning agonisingly over the bar there from his point of view, resulting in the corner kick, which maybe will get a breakthrough in before the end of the first half.
Couldn't half do with it, really.
Noticing that most of the South American teams don't defend the back post at corners against, and some, in fact, don't defend either post, which surprises me.
Coimbra standing with his hands in the air as everybody grapples with each other and jostles for position. The referee having a good look at what's going on, and Uruguay hoping to break through just before half-time. Morales with the header, but over and out.
Yeah, he did well. He peeled off at the back. I think that was deliberate. A long one over the top. Everyone started in a central position. Morales drifted out, peeled off at the back, but his header was very weak, and no threat at all to the young goalkeeper Arias, who hasn't really been put under pressure since he got that head knock.
Head knock, and the subsequent treatment should mean that there are a few minutes to be added on, I would have thought, in this first half.
Yeah, there'll be a lengthy, I think, injury time or stoppage time allocation.
Lima delivers, but that's going to be a safe catch for Arias. Oh, I thought it took longer than 2 minutes to patch him up.
Amazing. Well, I think the fourth official's somewhere to go tonight, because I cannot believe it was only 2 minutes after that long delay we had.
Mind you, the way the first half has gone, I'm probably quite thankful it's only 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, a blessing.
Sure, the respective coaches will have plenty to say to their sides during the break. Bolivia with possibly the last chance of the half. Coimbra up there, but it drops miserably behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, no danger there. The big defenders just treated that with disdain, and the goal kick's the result. The end, I think, Ian, of a very, very undistinguished first half. We hate to be critical, but we've been full of praise for the earlier matches in this tournament. And I think when we see one with less quality, I think we've got to admit that it's not of the standard that we've seen in the other matches.
Well, that was about the best thing we've seen in the half, as Bolivia with Ribeiro bear down on goal, and it just went away from Coimbra.
Coimbra was in great position there. I think he took his eye off the ball. He didn't expect Sorondo to miss it, and it came to him quickly, and I think it was a surprise to get such a chance. But good bit of play. Bad defending by Lima against his opposite number there, Ribeiro. Allowed Ribeiro to get the ball across the face of the goal, and it was a great chance, arguably the best chance of the match.
Well, much better expected really of these two teams in the second half, as the first half comes to an end in Medellin, and there really hasn't been an awful lot to get excited about. It's been rather drab and rather dire, to be brutally honest. Half-time, Bolivia 0, Uruguay 0. Uruguay are ready to start the second half after a rather miserable first half. Bolivia with a rather weakened lineup, with the majority of the players based in their homeland. Uruguay not at full strength either, but I imagine both coaches have probably had a fair bit to say during the break, Craig, after that first half.
Yeah, I would think so. That was a very poor first half, and I'm sure both coaches would lay it in the line to their players. We were looking to see if there were any substitutions, but I think both would say, look, you guys I've got 10 minutes to get something going here, otherwise I'll have to be proactive, I'll have to make some changes. And I would suspect that if things go as they went in the first half, there will be changes, and changes early in the second half. But he's one I don't think will be changed, because he's done very well, Gutierrez, and he has the free kick expertise, which could be vital in this second period.
So Uruguay ready to start the second half, favourites to win this group, which would have included Argentina and Canada, but they both withdrew. Honduras and Costa Rica coming into the group, coming into the Copa America as guests, and they will play each other here a little later on. Not quite sure how this rather patchy pitch will bear up to having two matches played on it tonight.
Well, fortunately the weather's good, but the pitch is certainly far from perfect.
Uruguay failed to qualify for the last two World Cups, and it's pretty much in the balance as to whether they'll make it to next year's one. Just outside the top four qualifying places at the moment, but fifth place in the group would take you through to a playoff against Australia.
Of course, they have won the World Cup. I think the first one ever they won it, but there weren't too many entrants at that time. And a small country of just over 3 million people, it is quite an achievement to get there, particularly in the very competitive South American group.
Did you go to the final that year?
We may have gone to the final in 1930 had we managed to qualify or be invited. I think it was by invitation then to compete.
It's Lima with a very, very long throw, which might prove effective for Uruguay. Morales waiting to receive. This is Ribeiro, and Lima stuck with him.
Yeah, I think Lima's been told get tighter on Ribeiro, who did quite a lot of damage in the first half. As I said, the flanks were the places that looked vulnerable, and Ribeiro here was doing exceptionally well in the first period. But Lima has been told close up on him and get the tackles in.
Bolivia hoping to make an impression at the start of the second half. Calustro leaves it for Alvarez. Here's Gutierrez, who does look lively. He's fired it wide, but once again he's the man looking like he might make something happen.
Yeah, he's the playmaker in midfield and very skillful, but it was a bit ambitious there, trying one from well outside the box with his left foot. Perhaps better to try a 1-2 off the striker, and Botero was looking for it, but he chose to shoot rather than lay the ball in and look for the return perhaps.
Gutierrez should be well known to the Uruguayans because he actually played his football in that country, despite being Bolivian, with Nacional. I love the way the players encourage yellow cards for the slightest thing for their opponents. Rodrigo Lemos to take this for Uruguay. Morales amongst those, hoping to get on the end of this. Zera and Callejas and Martinez also in there.
Yeah, Bezerra was up as well. All the big ones were there for that cross, but it was a fairly tame affair eventually. Yeah, you're mentioning players trying to get other players in trouble, and I have a philosophy. I think with our team, when we're playing a lesser team, a weaker team, you don't want them yellow carded. You want that team at its strongest when they're playing your opponents. And I think the same would apply here to these two teams. You would each want the other team to be at its best if you're playing a major opponent. So why try to incur the yellow cards, get the referee to encourage it. I would say to our guys, pick them up, apologise, and if they foul you, get up quickly, don't lie down, don't make a meal of it. You don't want the opposition yellow carded.
Well, some hope for Uruguay here as Rodrigo Lemos whips the corner in. The goalkeeper, like so many, electing to punch. Goal kick that time, even though Uruguay quite fancied a corner.
Yeah, I wondered about the possibility of Arias being changed in goal, but it's a new bandage, I think, and a clean replacement on his head. He's done well. He actually narrowed the angle well a couple of times after his severe injury, so he's resumed when we might have thought there could have been a change in goal.
Coimbra. Not really troubling the goalkeeper.
No, had one save so far in the match. I think it was a header from Coimbra, and Manua managed to save it. But that's all. No shots on target, no real threat to the goalkeeper. They've picked out, both goalkeepers have managed to pick out one or two crosses, but nothing of any consequence.
This is Portero, but he showed rather too much of it to Bizerra. Carlos Aragones, the coach of Bolivia, he scored a few goals when he played for his country, 15 in 31 internationals, which is a pretty decent record. Not quite sure where the team he's now in charge of are going to find a goal from, but maybe they'll
bring him on.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
He looks athletic enough in contrast to his opposite number.
It's the veteran Valdivieso, and that certainly fooled them as Ribeiro sends the cross in. Oh, and another chance goes begging. Gutierrez, I think, on the end of it.
Yeah, that was a real chance at the back then. Again, I perhaps think that he was surprised to receive the Fed flick there, and Gutierrez, in a good position, managed to miss the chance there at the back post. Over the top it went, he snatched at it a bit early, and had he taken his time and let it come down, he might have had a better chance to score.
Morales with a fine try. I don't think that went too far wide of the goal protected by Carlos Arias.
Yeah, that was a good strike from distance. Excellent hit by Morales. It was well passed, but I think the goalkeeper would have been in position had it been on the target.
And maybe things are livening up in Medellin. Chances at both ends in the space of a few seconds, and Bolivia coming back for a bit more now with Ribeiro. Uruguay, though, with a very solid defensive record. Free kick as Morales turned and was apparently tripped.
Yeah, I think Sandy tripped him, and he'll have to be careful because he's committed one or two fouls, tackles from behind, and this referee is rather lenient on the tackle from behind because two early yellow cards, but there have been one or two quite severe tackles since, and he's taken no further action.
Uruguay beat Brazil earlier this month in a vital World Cup qualifier. They won it thanks to a penalty, and Brazil had a late goal controversially ruled out, and Scotland's top ref, Hugh Dallas, was the man in charge of that fiery encounter.
Yeah, and he did it very well. Excellent reports from that match regarding who. You know him, you see him often, and full of praise, I hear.
Absolutely.
I listen to you.
I'm not quite sure it would be too welcome in Brazil, mind you, right now.
No, I don't think so. But you know, they go through coaches by the dozen, and I think referees are equally unpopular at the moment. Everyone's unpopular because they're not getting results. Their last 6 matches, it's horrendous, the record. You wouldn't believe it was Brazil.
Vidal is certainly one of the best around. Here's Lima, but I don't think that's going to trouble Arias too much. Bolivia taking the direct route this time. Not sure if it's going to run though. In the end, it had to be dealt with by Pizarra.
Yes, he did well because his first touch was poor. He nearly conceded the corner there, but managed to get it back to Manua and goal, and they've started an attack as a result.
Morales. Bolivia have had a disappointing qualifying campaign for the World Cup. More on that in a moment, because for a moment it looked like Uruguay might make something of it. Martinez. In that qualifying campaign, Bolivia actually suffered the embarrassment of losing to Venezuela, which is virtually unheard of. Uruguay are going to be first to make a change. Jorge Luis Anchin is coming on, wearing 16, and Martinez is going to come off.
Surprising, because Anchin coming on is a full-back normally, and they've taken off a midfield player. Maybe they're going to push him into midfield, but he normally plays at full-back.
Looks like he is slotting into that midfield role.
Yep, straight swap.
Well, the keeper was waiting to receive that. Bit of a misunderstanding, really, between him and Jaguchi, and as a result, it's a corner kick for Uruguay. Still no goals in Medellin, where later on Honduras and Costa Rica, the 2 invited guests, I guess you could say, to this Copa America, will meet each other. Uruguay with Morales, but it's up and over.
Yeah, again, very tame effort from the corner kick. Not much creativity and show from either side. You know, no short corners, no variation. And it's very disappointing to watch it, you know, as a coach, to try to learn something. Always looking for personal development here, and usually you find that from watching the Copa America. And I've seen 1 or 2 interesting things in the other matches, but not at all in this one. And I don't think Anchin, they brought him on, a young 20-year-old, to replace Martinez in midfield. I don't know if he's got anything to offer, but we'll soon find out.
This is the 5th game of the 2001 Copa America. Previous 4 brought 14 goals and 4 red cards. Although those 4 red cards came in the first 3 games. Lima. Stopped by Jaguchi for the free kick for Uruguay. Although I don't think Ribeiro, or rather Calustro, quite agreed with the decision. Certainly the worst of the pictures we've seen so far in the Copa America. Oops. Referee got in the way, much to the dismay of Callejas. And looking to break away for Bolivia, it's Coimbra.
Yeah, I think Coimbra had a case there for a free kick, but the assistant referee right beside it has decided it's a throw-in. And Lima to take it. Lima has pushed a bit further forward this half, but in spite of that, they haven't created many chances, the Uruguayans.
14 times winners of the Copa America, Uruguay. A joint record that with Argentina, but they have the chance this year to move ahead of Argentina, who aren't participating in the tournament. Side flag frustrates Morales.
Yeah, the surprising thing about the Copa America competition is that Brazil have won it only 6 times. And when you think Uruguay here with, as I said earlier, 3 million people, have won it 14 times. And the might of Brazil, which really tells you, will Brazil take it too seriously?
I think they prefer to go for World Cups.
They do, yeah, I think so. They look for the big stage, the glory. And they're seldom far away there, as we know to our cost.
Indeed. Carlos Aragones is the man in charge of Bolivia. It's Uruguay on the attack, and it might yet fall favourably for Lemos. And that's a hugely ambitious effort from Diego Perez.
Oh yes, there was no hope of getting anything there. Perez we haven't seen much of, and when he gets a chance to control the ball, take a couple of touches and shoot, he is a wild, rash attempt and it flies over. Again, most un-South American-like. Limas will be a loss. He's a playmaker there, Ian, and I think if they lose him, he will, although he's dropped deeper and deeper. He's now been playing more in front of the back 3 than behind the front 2, as I noticed in the first half. In the second half he came out and he's played very, very deep. So maybe his enforced removal might bring more creative play to the side if they bring on someone who will play further forward. But they make a meal of an injury, don't they?
Just a bit.
Every ambulance man.
5-course meal.
Yeah, exactly. Every ambulance man in Colombia is on there. A brilliant little bogey.
So Lemos temporarily off the field, but it remains to be seen whether he can carry on. Wouldn't be that surprised if he did carry on, mind you. Now maybe a chance for Bolivia. Portero. Ribeiro. Oh, it's come off him as well. That'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, I just can't wonder. I wonder why Portero didn't cross that ball. He lays it back, and that gives the defenders time to get in. An early cross, with the defenders facing their own goal, causes danger, and he delayed and delayed. Now, presumably there was no one up in support, but there should have been, and Calustro was coming into the box, and had he delivered there was a chance, but by delaying he made it easy for the Uruguayan defenders.
Now a chance here for Uruguay, and they have broken the deadlock.
Yeah, careless backheader by Jagucci allowed Uruguay in, and they have broken the deadlock, deservedly too. And a very good goal by Chevanton.
Chevanton nipped in, and that's just what this game required, because it was heading nowhere fast. And Uruguay, favourites to win this group, are off and running in the 2001 Copa America. Chevanton, who scored goals galore at club level, has got a crucial one for his country.
Yeah, a good long throw, created the move, and a head flick. But the head flick, I think, was from the defender. Yes, it was. It wasn't a deliberate one from the striker, from the target player, Morales, but no mistaking, Chevanton was there, and he finished very, very well. A tidy finish indeed.
The goal at last might just add a sense of urgency to what has been a pretty tame contest before.
Yeah, I was just bemoaning the fact that there was little variation. The long throw was repetitive and nothing was happening. But you wouldn't expect a defender to mishead it the way Uruguay did there, and unfortunately for Bolivia, it landed right in the path of the Chavanton striker, who was in good position to finish, and he finished it delightfully.
I think Lima did keep that in. Oops. Chavanton pouncing after Taguchi's error. Uruguay needed that, and this game certainly needed that as well. Chavanton with 33 goals in the league last season, so no surprise that he should snap that one up. And I wonder if Uruguay will now go on to greater things. Anshin, the substitute, has been unceremoniously barged over by Calustro, who's going to get a yellow card, the third Bolivian to be booked in this game, along with Alvarez and Valdivieso.
Yeah, amazing there. Another yellow card for a challenge. We've had several tackles from behind which have gone unpunished, and that surprises me.
Uruguay keeping a clean sheet as far as goals are concerned, and as far as yellow cards are concerned so far in this game, and can't imagine Uruguay go through too many games without getting a yellow card.
No. Well, you don't need to remind me. As I said at the beginning, we had a very, very tough game in Netza, Mexico 1986 against them. Not one to remember.
Lima's going to swing this one in. Referee wants the two-man ball back a teeny bit. Lima delivers, but it's too near the keeper. Ribeiro, and Lima stops him in his tracks. Midway through the second half, in the opening game of Group C in Medellin, and after Bolivia and Uruguay have studied their stuff, it's the turn of Honduras and Costa Rica. They play in the next game in the group. The two teams invited to take part in the tournament after Argentina and Canada withdrew. Honduras against those obvious superpowers of world football, Costa Rica.
No comment, no comment.
Next. Bolivia, one behind. Ribeiro.
Yeah, the ball bounces off Becerra for a corner kick, and I think that the best chance for Bolivia is from a set-piece corner or free kick. They've looked fairly dangerous from free kick situations, and although not many corners, it'll be interesting to see. They don't look as if they're going to score from open play.
From the corner, Gutierrez is putting himself about. Bolivia still hopeful. It's turned back in by Botero, and a vital clearance from Sorondo. It's set up an attack for Uruguay. This is Morales. Chavanton trying to stay onside. Morales has lost his way a little bit, and the free kick's given against him now.
Yeah, a good diagonal run there from Chavanton, but it was excellent defending by the Bolivians. They did very, very well. Sandy on that occasion, using all his experience.
Now it might open up for Bolivia with Lustro. Gutierrez delivers. Barnes taking over. Ribeiro. Botero. And Bolivia gets kept in. No, it isn't kept in by Ribeiro, but nearly.
Ribeiro's legs look as if they've gone in. He has done a long, hard shift on that right side all on his own, and I think he's having to do too much. He's been asked to do too much. Right from his own goal line, the full length of the pitch is impossible for a wing back. And he's getting little support out there. No one is making forward runs ahead of him to save his legs, and you know, he's tiring, I think, quite noticeably.
Less than 20 minutes remaining. Uruguay leading by 1-0, but it's hardly been a memorable encounter between these two mostly young teams. Now, I wonder if anything happened here, or whether there's a bit of play acting going on. Chavanton is down. I don't think the referee's that interested.
No, he's not. I'm sure he's not. Gucci, I think, had a challenge with him, but I didn't see anything which merited the rolling about the histrionics of Chavanton.
Unsurprisingly, he's made a miraculous recovery. Uruguay looking to close in for a second, which would effectively end Bolivia's hopes in this game. Fouled by Gutierrez on Carlos Diaz will bring the Uruguayans a free kick.
Yeah, Diaz had a stuffy performance on that right side for Uruguay. He's been one of their better players, and as I was saying, very, very same observation about running the side. He's been asked to do, I think, too much, and as a result, there's a touch of cramp there.
Knocked back as he tried to make.
Yeah, Coimbra was back. Good credit to the striker for coming back to defend, but no need to give away that free kick.
Usually for the South Americans, the quality of the long-range free kicks hasn't been that great.
No, very poor indeed.
Bolivia are making a change, and Gutierrez is the man coming off, and Ronald Garcia is the young midfielder coming on, just 20 years of age. Probably a straight swap.
I think so, yes. It looked like a straight swap.
Also going to bring on a striker in Lida Paz, who is top scorer with his club, who rather quaintly are called the Strongest. That's the name of the club in Bolivia, although they're not doing very well at the moment, so obviously they're not quite the strongest. So a slight delay as these substitutions are made.
Well, young Garcia coming on, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. I would assume he'll play just off the front, replacing Gutierrez, and it gives him an opportunity to show some energy, and the fresh legs are very important at this stage in the match, and if he can exploit what might be weaknesses and tired legs in the Uruguayan defence, it could be good news for Bolivia.
Just over a quarter of an hour to go in Medellin, and Bolivia trying to haul themselves back level. And Lima just flicked that one away from Ribeiro, who will take the throw himself. Here. Bolivia plugging away. Ooh, and Lima had to turn that one behind.
Yeah, good defending. He was back in a defensive position, had to be there because that was a tempting ball.
Confirmation of Paz's arrival in place of Coimbra. Paz, who scored against Argentina earlier this year.
Not surprised that Paz has come on because Coimbra had done very, very little throughout the match.
Bolivia trying their best to put the pressure on. And once again, Sorondo was in there where it mattered for Uruguay to deny Paz.
Yeah, Paz was looking dangerously there in behind, but good defensive play. Sorondo not very fancy, but effective. Get it out for a corner kick, defend at all costs.
Bolivia trying to inspire their fans in the crowd. Now, keeper's gone for that, even though Botero was coming in, but he got there Munir. And there's a bit of a wrestling match going on in the penalty area.
Yeah, that's exciting in there. He'll be wishing he was back in Canada, Ian, because he's into South America now, and we know the fiery temperament that many of the players have in this neck of the woods.
Well, it's good to see a bit of passion from them in this game, because there hadn't been a certain sense of urgency for much of this encounter, but it's starting to mean something now as it enters its closing stages. The referee still sorting out.
Garcia just come on and he's in trouble right away, so
he didn't hang around. From the corner. Oh, what a chance for Bolivia to equalise. It's a chance.
Yeah, for Sandy. He came up, he's been up for all the corner kicks and a good delivery, and he got the head on it, but it was over the top. Big support here, or the bigger support for Bolivia. They're really quite excited whenever Bolivia get the corner kicks that they've had. They've had a few in the last 10 minutes or so, and they look to be more urgent now than they have been the entire early part of the match.
Flicked on by Chivanton. Still only the one goal in it. Valdivieso playing in his 5th Copa America. This is Calustro. Didn't quite reach Ribeiro. Maybe another change made. Carlos Aragones, the Bolivian coach, watching his opposite number make this change, which sees Chivanton going off to be replaced by Carlos Maria Morales, who's been warming up a fair bit in this second half, actually. Veteran striker, 31 years of age, plays his football in the Mexican League. He's coming on for the goal scorer, Chivanton.
Yeah, he's been warming up since the start of the second half, so I think he's due a run. And he is an experienced striker, so we've got two Morales on now, and we hope from the point of view of the game that the striker Morales can do something.
Lima will take the throw for Uruguay.
No hurry. No hurry to take it.
They last won the Copa America in 1995. They did get to the final last time out with a much stronger squad. No survivors from that squad in this year's tournament. In '99 they were beaten by Brazil, having beaten them on penalties in the '95 final.
I see Calles there lying down. You know, for my money, that's a time-wasting injury.
Lima. I don't think it's quite going to be a contender for a game of the tournament, so no?
I think not. It's been most disappointing. I think perhaps the standard of the other games has spoiled us at the beginning of the tournament. We've really had, you know, a festival of football so far, great pageantry as well, good opening ceremony, nice, colourful matches, but this one has been, I think the Scottish word would be dreary.
Well, the host Colombia in action again tomorrow against Ecuador, so there'll be a big crowd cheering them on in Barranquilla. And there's Victor Pua, the coach of Uruguay. Is he going to get off to a winning start in the 2001 Copa America?
Looks like it, although I've got to admit that Bolivia have played well, or less badly, I think, for the last 10-15 minutes.
I like that, less badly.
Well, I don't like to say they've played well, because I think that wouldn't be true. They haven't been as bad as they were earlier, but you know, it's easy to be critical, and I've often said this, the easiest team to coach is someone else's. And you know, it's all very well to sit here and complain, but you don't know the circumstances. You know that both teams are very young, they're inexperienced at this level. The pitch isn't the smoothest in the world. It's the opening game in the tournament for both teams, so you know, there is a bit of pressure on them. So I think we're being critical, and you know, by South American standards, the high standards we expect, I think we're right to be critical, but we've got to bear in mind that we've seen matches like this in Europe as well.
Anchin standing over the free kick for Uruguay. Well, there's much ado about nothing in the end.
I think no one could complain about us being critical when you see that. You know, that's been typical, I'm afraid. Very, very disappointing indeed.
Shocking, wasn't it? Lima's arms was up there, and he's going to get a card. Oh, they didn't quite make it through the game without getting a yellow card, Uruguay. Lima booked. Ronaldez. Intercepted by Bizerra. But maybe all is not lost for Bolivia just yet. Although Carlos Diaz has it for Uruguay.
Yeah, and I notice he's dropped right back in to make it a back four. Now, he was pushing wide on the right there, but Carlos Diaz is now very much in the defensive position.
Segundo running it behind for a corner. There's another Uruguayan drops to the ground.
That's a surprise. That's Diaz, I think.
Strange how they seem to be getting the majority of their interviews of their injuries after taking the lead.
Yeah, purely coincidence.
Of course. Here comes the buggy.
Here he comes. It's the flag that intrigues me. What's the flag saying? There's some printing on that. You're the man for the Spanish.
You're right. I'll tell you later. 5 minutes to go, and obviously a problem for Diaz. Bolivia with a long wait to take this corner.
Well, the long wait actually favours the attacking side, I think. The defenders are a bit static.
That's very neatly swung in, but very neatly taken too by Gustavo Manua.
Yeah, when there's a long wait at a corner and you're a defender, you don't like that because you're able to stiffen up a bit, and your job is to defend that corner, so it tends to favour the attacking side.
Morales, oh, he stepped his way through, and eventually Dragucci intervened. And now Bolivia are on the break, looking for an equaliser late on in Medellin. It's the substitute Paz who goes to ground, and the free kick has been given.
Yeah, he looks very sprightly, Paz. You wonder had he been brought on a bit earlier. But what I like to see about him, he's going at the defender. He's not going to stop and pass it square or back. He's going to take him on in a 1-against-1. A bit fortunate to get the free kick, but it is a very dangerous position here.
I'm sure he was desperately trying to make it just inside the box as well.
Yeah, well, Gutierrez is normally the man for those. He's off now. So the second choice free kick taker will be in action here.
It's Valdivieso, the captain, but it bounces off the wall. It'll be another Bolivian corner though, and they're certainly giving it a go towards the end.
Yeah, they've had a succession of corner kicks. None has proved really dangerous, but let's hope for the sake of the game this one does.
Valdivieso delivers, but it'll land on the roof of the net. Another corner. And a flurry of activity at this end as Bolivia step up their search for an equaliser in the closing stages.
Yeah, we expect everyone to be up now. They've nothing to lose. Even the goalkeeper might be coming, but you know, if they mean business, the whole team will be in and around that box.
Valdivieso delivers. Keeper comes and gets to it. Uruguay digging it out. Couple of minutes away from their first win. Valdivieso returned it to Paz. It's not a bad delivery from him, except there was only one Bolivian in the box. Valdivieso involved again. Garcia. It's drifted over though.
Yeah, Bolivia have come alive actually in the last 10 minutes or so. The substitutions have been productive, although that was a rather careless cross from Garcia, but that apart, they've done very well. I think, in all honesty, they might well have deserved an equaliser in this match. A draw would have been fair because it was a nothing game, and I don't think any side, or either side, deserved to win the match. Uruguay slightly better up front, got the vital goal, a mistake from a back header, but a flattering result in my opinion.
Honduras against Costa Rica coming up a little later. It's looking like Uruguay will be the ones to catch in Group C, although Bolivia ending on a high. If only they could have been this urgent from the start. Inside the last minute of normal time. Ribeiro. Calustro. Valdivieso. Here's Paz. It's going to be a free kick. The foul by Sorondo. Uruguay making hard work of hanging on to their lead, and 4 minutes of added on time as well will give Bolivia every reason to be hopeful.
Yeah, I'm surprised 4 minutes this half and only 2 in the first period, but they might find the 4 minutes very useful, Bolivia.
Valdivieso will send it in. Oh, everyone missed it.
A great ball in. Oh, super ball. And Sandy's obviously disappointed that he didn't get his head on it.
Well, there might still be time for Bolivia with 4 minutes of added on time. It eluded everyone. Uruguay hoping to be record breakers by winning the Copa America for a 15th time. I would imagine as the tournament progresses, they'll certainly have to play a lot better than they have done tonight.
Yes, we've had far better performances in the other matches, but the slow start, sometimes they get the points, they gain some momentum, and they gain encouragement and confidence. And you're right, they could win it for a 15th time, because this is a wide open Copa America, particularly since Argentina have withdrawn.
The withdrawal of Argentina has allowed Honduras to join the tournament, and the withdrawal of Canada has allowed Costa Rica to join the tournament. And Paulo Wanshop is in the Costa Rica side to face Honduras next in this stadium. So, not quite sure what will happen there, because I don't think Paulo is ever quite sure what will happen when he's around.
What we could have done with his unpredictability here, something different. We're looking for something from these players out there, and frankly we're getting very little to enthuse about.
Bolivia launching another raid, but you would fancy that Uruguay have enough about them to hang on, although here's Valdivieso. Oh, and Sorondo was caught as the attempt was made for a rather spectacular overhead kick.
Yeah, we always like to see the overhead kick, but it is quite dangerous, particularly with a defender around.
Caught him on the hand, I think.
Yeah, Botero, I think, was trying to produce a bit of magic.
So this will add a few more seconds on to the proceedings.
You can be sure he'll be in no hurry to get to his feet.
I think they could do with a few more Red Cross people on there. Only about 8.
Yeah, in fairness, Botero didn't realise that Sorondo was there, and he was trying genuinely to do the overhead kick and get it on target. And there was no intent, but it was quite a severe knock on the arm.
Well, he's back in position. Uruguay are seconds away from a victory which will serve them well as they attempt to progress from Group C, although you would think that they are virtual certs to progress from the group, with Honduras and Costa Rica in it, with Bolivia. Garcia. Bolivia are running out of time, and the interception from Carlos Diaz will allow a few more seconds to tick away. But it is all over. Not exactly a memorable match, but if Uruguay go on to win the Copa America for a record 15th time, I don't think they'll care too much. It finishes in Medellin, Bolivia 0, Uruguay 1.